All right, you guys, welcome back to another episode of the FS4T podcast. My name is Chris, and I'm super excited because, I'm excited every week, but it's legit. There's a legit reason. It's so much fun talking to these people and learning and listening and seeing what they do in their industry and their facet. And today is going to be a great one as well. So we have sat down with Damon Evans so you can hear more about him and his history. We sat down with Chris Dudley from Under Oath, and he's a film composer, and we've sat down with so many great people. And today we are talking to Josh Macuga. So Josh Macuga has been involved in so many different parts of the industry, and most recently he has been the host of History Channel's Eating History, a very interesting, very fun and hilarious show because he's a very funny person. But Josh Macuga is joining us today, and I can't wait for you guys to hear our conversation. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Josh Macuga. So, with that out of the way, Josh Macuga, welcome to Film School for Teens. It is so great to have you on. As a geek and a Collider movie fan, guilty movie pleasures, schmoes know, movie fights, TV fights. For me, this is super geek time.
Oh, let's geek it out, man. Let's do it.
So you have a great kind of handle on movie nerds because of Movie Trivia Schmodown and the things that I just named. But you also had a really awesome project that debuted in March of, was it 2020 or 2021?
Yes, exactly. March of 2020.
Okay. So that was Eating History on the History Show, or History Channel. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all good.
So walk us through that. How did that come about? I heard about it from the afternoons, of course, and enjoyed the show with you and Old Smokey, right?
Old Smokey, you got it, dude. Yeah.
So how did that come about, and what led to the culmination of that? What was it like as kind of an actor and a host?
Sure.
What was that experience?
Well, first, thank you for having me on. This is it's a lot of fun. I come from a family of educators, so anything I can do to try and pass on some whatever useless knowledge that I have to the youth of the next generation, I would love to do. I had worked. There was a production company that did Eating History called Sharp Entertainment. They're out of New York City. They do shows like 90 Day Fiance and they've got a bunch of shit, but that's like their biggest one running right now. But they did a ton of different stuff back in the day. And they're going to, if they listen to this, like, that's the only show he talks about. But so they've got a ton. They develop a ton. They're a huge production company. And so I did a show called Epic Happy Hours for them on Travel Channel that aired in 2017. And we thought that was going to go to series, no problem. And then about a month after that aired, Travel Channel was like, so we only do ghost shows now. And I was like, well, I'm not a ghost guy at all. I'm terrified of everything. And I hate horror movies, hate anything horror. So we lost the show on Travel Channel, went back to Collider, kept doing Collider, then, Collider Live in the morning and all that kind of stuff. And then, as Collider was sort of winding down, we could kind of see the writing on the wall, which was very sad because, I thought that at Collider, we did a ton of fun stuff. And, unfortunately, a lot of it was just lost in, the internet ether. Right. So the people at Sharp reached out to me and they were like, hey, we have this idea. And History Channel loves it. And we've been tasked with putting it together. And they're like, before you say yes, we have to tell you what it is. And so they broke it down and they were like, listen, because I know a lot about food. I worked in restaurants my whole life and I'm able to, and it's not like fake it until you make it. It's talk on a subject until you can be talked out of it. Right. Yeah. So let's just say right now, what's hot. I could talk about just about anything from, sports to NFTs or whatever, but I'm more interested in being I would like to learn more about it than I would like to be the expert on it. That's what I've always been on every show. I've never wanted to act like the expert. So Sharp reaches out to me. They tell me, History has this channel where we're going to start telling the history of food, but we're also going to try it. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, so like, like nostalgic items, but they've re-released it. They're like, no, we're going to find old food. And I was like, yeah, but we can like die, right? I mean, botulism is real. Botulism is the most powerful biotoxin. This is the thing I learned. Botulism is the most powerful biotoxin we have on the planet, but we can't manufacture it, thank goodness. It's really hard to test for. There's no like testing for botulism. And if you get botulism, like you can paralyze yourself, you can die immediately. I mean, it's crazy what can happen. So, we had a toxicologist. Go ahead.
This was like a whole other level past Rhett and Link and Good Mythical Morning, stuff that our audience is probably way familiar with. And the silly things that they eat on a regular basis. This is up in the ante. Big time.
100%. It's not like Epic Mealtime, right? It is, we're finding these old food and drink items, telling you the history of it, and then seeing if we can actually try it. So I went to this audition, and what they had done was they had collected a lot of old food experts. This is like a thing. It got popular on YouTube by this guy by the name of Steve 1989. That's his YouTube handle. And he tries old MREs. Now, I'm pretty sure that because he's never really on camera, it's just like a camera on these MREs, meal ready to eat. They're like what the Army ate in World War II and Vietnam and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And even up to today. And he would like go through it packet by packet. Now, I'm pretty sure that 95% of his millions of views is ASMR because he's got that like, and now I'm going to open the lemon. And as you can see, it's powder. And I will put the powder in the water and then I will stir the water. And I'm like, okay, so he's putting people to sleep. This has become his thing. And, but so they wanted to get him and they wanted to get a couple of old food experts onto the show. Now, the problem with that is a lot of old food experts aren't entertainers. You need somebody that can carry a television show. Because if not, then it's just like, why would we tune in to this? Let's just watch Steve 1989.
So it's like Mrs. Doubtfire with the old guy and the dinosaurs.
Nailed it, dude. That's the first thing I said at the audition.
No way.
Like, I swear to God. I said, it's like that old guy in Mrs. Doubtfire where he's just like talking to the dinosaurs. Because that's kind of what it was. And like I saw some of the audition tapes. I'm like, whoa. So they brought me in for color and they brought a couple other hosts that I knew and they brought us in to like, just give it some energy. And I auditioned in July and I didn't hear, I figured by September, if I didn't hear anything, I didn't get it. And so I become friends with the people at the production company. And, if there's anything that your listeners get from this, it's be easy to work with. I'm telling you, there are a lot of people in entertainment that would be a lot farther along. Now, there's a lot of people in entertainment that have made it to the top that are difficult to work with. How they did that, I do not know. They got very lucky or like the right audience liked them and people just put up with their antics. But there's a lot of people that have just been thrown by the wayside and you can count. I mean, I can rattle off names of people that you might remember that had like a peak and are now at the valley because they were just hard to work with. Be easy to work with, become friends with everybody, make everybody's life around you easier because guess what? You as talent, you have the easiest job on set. I don't care what you're on. It is the easiest job on set. You are just there to be you. Right? If they're hiring you as an actor, they're hiring you as a host, they're hiring you as on-screen talent, they are hiring you to be you.
That's great.
It's great, right?
That's great.
When you go into like a hosting audition, don't be a host. Be you.
So no Joey Tribbiani with the bamboozled or whatever it was.
Correct. Yes, exactly. If you're not yourself in the audition, if you're not 100% authentic, they're going to know because it's just, you know right away. That and learn how to read a teleprompter. It's very important.
Yeah.
But so they brought me in there and I was just myself. And I will tell you, it was one of the craziest auditions because the space that we were in New York auditioning was in Brooklyn and the power, the air conditioning broke the morning of the audition and it was 104 degrees that day in New York with like 80% humidity. So I am up there. I went through 4 t-shirts because the audition was like 7 hours long. They kept testing me with different guys. And then I just got sent home. But I kept in touch with everybody at that production company, became friends with them. I would go out for drinks with them, whatever, because I'd already done the show with them. But also like, hey, entertainment's all about connections. If you don't know or talk to people or keep communication open at all times, you're not doing it. It's not just like I go to a job and I come home. It's 24/7.
Sure.
You have to live it, So it's like end of September. I still hadn't heard anything. And I was like, I didn't get it. And I reached out to my buddy at the production company. I was like, dude, who got this job? And he's like, they still haven't decided. He's like, I was actually going to email you tomorrow because I think it's going to be you, but I'm not sure. I know it's down to you, this one food expert, and this other host. So I get a call the next day and they're like, it's you. You got it.
Wow.
Amazing. Right. I remember where I was when I got it, first, and it went straight to series. It wasn't just a pilot, like straight to series, 12 episodes, national television, everything amazing.
And you had to keep all this under wrap, right?
For a long time, because we were shooting and I couldn't tell anybody what I was doing for like the first month and a half to 2 months of shooting because they wanted to announce it.
So it's pretty much just you and your wife knew. I assume she knew, right?
Yeah, I had to tell her. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Fortunately. What are you gonna do? She's
a
always
ball
around.
And chain.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I'm like, babe, I got to go to New York. Why? I can't tell you.
Yeah. Just got to trust me.
Yeah. I mean, Ken knew, a couple other close friends knew that, I could tell, obviously family knew and stuff like that, but I
figured Ken knew.
Yeah. I couldn't tell anybody else. But so, we get to set and it was a whirlwind, man. It was, talk about kind of like learning on the fly because they had this base idea, find the old food, find the people that collect it, find old food items, tell a story, try it. But you can't do the same thing every episode, right? So there was a lot of episodes where we'd have an item and like me and the producer and the other host and Old Smokey and a couple of the other producers be like, all right, how can we make this one fun? How can we make this one cool? Because a lot of them are very fun. I mean, a lot of them are pop culture items that you might remember easy. Some of them are just very old. So you got to, kind of flex that muscle. Some of them are very gross, which I think some people had some trouble with because,
it's gross.
Gross. That's why Fear Factor basically, when it ended, when they were trying to, the episode. Everybody does. Yeah.
So when you're in that situation, right, it's different from being a traditional actor where you're, acting out to a script, right? So this is an ability that you have and that I'm sure you would encourage our students that want to go down this path as well, that this is, as you said, another muscle that you can flex of your ability to work with producers, the director, and just kind of how can we make this different? It's something you don't think about.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think that's where some of these shows get flawed is it's just, all right, again, same. I know what The Bachelor is going to be.
Yeah.
Right. Every episode.
I've seen it 30 times.
That's why
it's failing.
It is not the most dramatic season. I can already tell you.
Yeah.
It's no matter what they say. So what is that like?
The most dramatic season yet.
It's not. Trust me.
All ends the same. They're never going to get married. They're going to break up. They're going to move to LA and be an influencer for 3 years and then open up a restaurant in their hometown. See, it's real easy.
Yeah. And Bachelor in Paradise. Forgot to add that one in.
BIP. Yeah.
So what's it like from stuff you've done from a pure acting standpoint to this? What was that transition like for you?
Well, so I think I've always really enjoyed hosting, talking. I think when, the YouTube generation started and I was at the beginning of that, I was one of we were like part of that first 100 partners in YouTube history.
Wow.
We went to the first VidCon. I was just doing sketches with Casual Mafia. We were just, writing silly stuff and writing music videos and shooting them and putting them up in my Prius, got sponsored by Toyota. We were just doing silly stuff and, I was just pursuing acting at the most part. And then, I just started hosting and doing stand-up and getting hired to do podcasts and talk. And I think, like I said before, is, being yourself is extremely important. When you go to acting class, an acting teacher is going to tell you things. Let me tell you something. You do not have to listen to him or her. Okay? Because guess what? A lot of acting teachers are failed actors and actresses. Okay. That's just the truth.
I know. I've seen Barry. I get it.
Yeah, you get it. Right. No, but dude, that is a person in LA. That is multiple people in LA.
Ugh.
That is multiple people in New York. I went to acting school. I did a couple TV shows and movies, worked a little bit, and now I'm hired or basically created an acting school and have a few success stories. But for the most part, anybody is just like, I made a couple connections with some agents and some casting directors, and this is why you're in acting class. I'm not saying that acting class is useless. What I'm saying is that just spinning your wheels in acting class and not auditioning, not getting an agent, not getting a manager, you're just going to class. You know, I mean, it's like you went to driving school when you were 16. Eventually you got your license and drove on a road. Acting is like anything. It's a muscle. You want to flex it. So when you go to an audition, you feel comfortable, you feel yourself. Doing characters is very important, learning all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, let's be real. The Rock is The Rock in every movie. Ryan Reynolds,
100%. Oh.
Ryan Reynolds in every single movie. He is amazing as Deadpool, but he hasn't not been Deadpool since Deadpool.
Since Van Wilder, man.
Well, yeah, since Van Wilder, right? When people get nominated for Academy Awards, I like to call it the yelling and crying, right? If you can yell really believably and cry really believably in a movie that is like somewhat good, great. I have never understood how some movies get nominated and some don't, because I think it's all just like a pyramid scheme of like, hey, I paid for the nomination. That's what I think. I don't know. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but like some of the best movies ever didn't win anything, or maybe won one thing and didn't. Like voter, it's such a subjective thing that to be upset about award season is beyond me, right? I just like the movies I like.
And as of recording this, the nominations for the 2022 Oscars were announced this morning, and people are flipping their lids over Denis Villeneuve not getting nominated for Best Director for Dune.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
it's insane. Look, it's an epic. He should be nominated. I'm sorry. Directing Frances McDormand in that Poop Van movie versus Dune is a completely different skill set. That's why I don't care about awards. Yes, it would be cool to go to them and like get drunk with celebrities, but I couldn't listen. I got paid. I did the movie that I wanted to do and people enjoyed it. Isn't that what it's supposed to do?
That's what Michael Bay says.
I don't need an award. And guess what? Michael Bay's movies are awesome. I don't care. You can give me all the Transformers movies. Do I think some of them are absurd? Yeah. Guess what? We can't beat the robots. We can't beat them. That's been proven for 6 straight movies. Yet we keep making them. And guess what? I keep watching them because they're super fun. Okay. Michael Bay's that movie, that 6 Feet Underground or whatever, the one on Netflix. Okay. That thing was awesome.
Oh
Guess
my
what?
gosh.
I also love indies. I love everything. Like
this is the guilty movie pleasures Macuga coming out.
Yes.
And it's driving me nuts because there were some episodes on the show. I'm like, I just can't, you guys. I'm with you on the Phantom. I am with you on the Phantom.
That's a great movie.
So my dad, anytime I tell him like, oh, I just watched this movie, it's incredible, you got to see it. And he's like, is it like the Phantom? I'm like, because when we saw that, he took me, and what did that come out? 96, 97? Somewhere around
earlier.
there.
I think it was like 95. Yeah.
Okay. So we walked out of the theater and I go, #1, Dad, that's my #1 favorite movie.
96. You were right. Well done.
So he says to me all the time, he brings that up. #1, Dad, #1. He's like, that movie was hot garbage.
He's wrong.
No,
he's wrong.
You need to watch it again. Billy Zane is a saint.
Yes, he's awesome. And that movie is straight up fire. Now, listen, I love everything. Like I said, be easy to work with. Love everybody. Choose positivity. Try and be the person in the room that isn't the negativity, right? Like when you get delayed on a flight or you get the flight canceled, don't be the guy huffing and puffing and yelling at the person at customer service. Because guess what? Their life's just as miserable as yours right then and there. They don't want to be dealing with you. They don't want the flight to be canceled.
Yep.
But as far as like acting and hosting go, right? The muscle that you're flexing, being able to, okay, like in stand-up comedy, for instance, they'll teach you, or like a lot of famous comedians will say, like, embrace the bomb, embrace the silence. I could never do that. Like that's why I didn't last that long in stand-up. Like when Mark, Ken, and I go and do road gigs, if some of the jokes aren't working, I go straight to crowd work and I just try and make people laugh for 35 minutes. And then I get off stage and let Mark do his thing. Because Mark spends hours writing jokes, crafting jokes, all that kind of things. I realized I was never going to be an amazing joke writer, but guess what? If you needed me 30 to 45 minutes, an hour, I mean, I've done stand-up gigs at like Christmas parties for car dealerships for like 2 hours on a dance floor that wasn't a stage while people were eating their dinner in front of me and walking by me in the buffet line. Like I've done that before.
Oh my gosh.
It's painful. It's a paycheck. You get it. You go home.
That's brutal.
It's brutal, but it sharpens the knife, man.
Yeah, so see, you don't get to go to Mellow Mushroom afterwards when you're in Phoenix. It's the greatest.
Oh, that place is amazing.
Yeah,
something they put on the crust.
I was listening to that episode, and you guys said it. I'm like, oh yes, yes, this is great.
It's kind of perfect. It really is. It's kind of perfect.
Yeah.
But I will end this on this is if you're hosting, right, and you're feeling your flow, just go with it. What they don't tell you in acting school, like they will, and what they don't tell you in like a hosting. So I never went to a hosting school. I just kind of did it, like got my legs under me and just was myself. Entertainment is like 20 years to be an overnight success, right? It's a ton of luck meets preparation, right? And sometimes that luck never comes, and you just got to work your butt off. I had an acting teacher in college tell me, when I moved to New York right after college, and then I moved to LA, and he said, listen, if you don't book something every year that moves you forward in your career, you have to stop and look for something else. Right? You can do community theater your whole life. You can do all those kind of fun things as a side hustle. But if you want to make this your full-time job, if you want to make this your life, you have to look at it from an objective perspective. You have to be like, okay, I think I'm great, but nobody has booked me on anything in 2 years. Clearly, I'm not. Maybe this isn't for me. I need to go look at something else, because the hardest part about entertainment is the people that stay in it for way too long and then have no other thing. Like I've hustled my whole life, written, acted, hosted, produced, started YouTube channels, podcasted. You have to do everything possible to succeed in this. And you have to listen. 0.00001% are Daniel Day-Lewis that comes right out of film school and gets My Left Foot and wins an Oscar. Okay. Daniel Day-Lewis, everything he touches, he wins. I don't know why. I have no idea why.
Because he's DDL, man. He's amazing.
I get it. But him acting in Lincoln and him acting in other movies, him in Last of the Mohicans is awesome. They're all awesome. I'm telling you, it's hard for me to tell when an actor is good and when an actor is great, but I can tell you when an actor is bad. Think about that.
Well, so let me ask you one final question.
Okay.
For our students who don't have the opportunity to be going on auditions and searching for that type of stuff, what can they do to master their craft at home? Would you suggest maybe they record themselves doing monologues from movies that they appreciate, watch them back, maybe show close friends to get feedback?
I would say, and it's always kind of boggled my mind when people are like, I don't like watching myself. Watch yourself so you can learn what you don't like about it. Learn what you don't like about your performance and try and change it. Because we can act into a void forever, right? Nobody's there to judge you. It's if you don't put it out there. But if you watch yourself and you're like, I like this, I like that, let me try that again. We have that power now. We've got iPhones, we've got microphones, we've got all that. It's readily available at your fingertips. Yes, watch yourself, feel yourself, try things out. It's just words on a page. It sucks to be a writer, because guess what? As soon as talent shows up on set, they pretty much use your script as an outline. There are some scripts that are beautifully written and beautifully acted, but I can guarantee you that a director, unless the writer is the director, and even then, I've been on some pretty big sets that are, the script's fantastic, and somebody will stop down and be like, I think I want to do it this way. And the director's like, yeah, I like that. Let's try it this way. Okay, let's go. Writer's script is just, and you see the writer over there on the director's chair. It's kind of like, I can't believe I spent 2 years writing this script and now it looks like this. Because guess what? a lot of times there's too many cooks in the kitchen all the time, and stuff just ends up on the cutting room floor. So take those words on the page and make them yours. Just be you. Again,
don't do an impression of a monologue. Take it and make it your own. Put your own spin on it.
Yeah.
And dude, watching your performance to see what you don't like might be some of the simplest, most profound statement. Like it's just so simple and easy.
Listen, you're going to like a lot of the stuff you do because we are inherently bred to try and like ourselves. We try as hard as we can to hate ourselves. We really do. But we do. I'm like, listen, we were talking about it before. It's like, I look at my head every day. I'm like, God, I wish I had hair. I wish I had hair, but I don't. We are intrinsically like, there's so many people out there. Mental health is very important. People are trained by a lot of society to just not like you. It just not like yourself. Love yourself. But when you're watching yourself, pick out the things that you don't like. You learn way more from a loss than you do from a win. Wins, you go out with your friends, have some ice cream at a local family restaurant,
Perfect.
Maybe call the girl you have a crush on. Don't text her, call her.
Call your friend and go out for some snacks.
Yes.
That's a deep cut afternoons poll.
Meet for a snack. Go to 7-Eleven, grab a snack, take a walk. If there's anything I can tell the teens of today, let me tell you a story because you're about my age, Chris.
I can't wait to hear this.
Let me tell you this. Okay. What you don't grasp is the art of fear. And let me tell you what fear is. Fear is having a crush on the girl when you're 12 and having to call her house phone and her dad answering the phone.
The worst.
And having to say, "Hi, Mr. Wyatt. It's Josh Macuga. I was wondering if I could talk to Devin. She's not here right now. Could I take a message?" "Yeah, sure. She can call me back anytime." "Great. I'll have her call you." Click. That is terrifying.
I have knots in my stomach just hearing that again. I think it's bad.
Grasp, embrace being uncomfortable. Embrace like the fear. Listen, I'm scared of everything. I don't need to watch horror movies. But hey, if you want to be in acting and you want to be performing, those butterflies, that feeling in your stomach, embrace it, feel it, utilize it, and go with it.
A friend of mine said, "Be brave enough to be bad at something new."
Yeah.
Which I find it so fascinating. It's perfect.
Yeah. Well, outside of your comfort zone is a magical place to be, man.
This has been so incredible. I think, honestly, it's such a different facet, for our audience and our students. And I think regardless of the course that you have taken with Film School for Teens, this has intrinsic value. And Josh, we thank you so much for being here, man.
Chris, thank you, man. I think what you guys do is amazing. And if you're out there and you want to be in entertainment, it's a tough grind. It's an industry unlike anyone else in the world. What they don't tell you in film school is they don't pay you to figure out what you're good at doing. So get in there and get your hands dirty. You're going to probably have to work a bunch of different jobs before you figure out what you like and what you don't like in entertainment. But it's all worth it, man. I couldn't do anything else. If you think for 1 second that you could do something else, get out. You gotta get out. I've never, ever in my life thought I could do literally anything else. And I have hustled and hustled and hustled because I know that, what I'm doing is what I love and hopefully people enjoy it. So.
Wow. That was great because I really like having the different dynamics of everybody that we're having on so far. And Josh is no exception. I think he gave a lot of great gold nuggets for us to take to heart, to listen to. And I really hope that it has encouraged you guys, especially you acting students, to some gold nuggets and encourage you to move forward with your craft and your passion and learn from him. So thank you, Josh, for coming on. This has just been such a blessing to have you. And I cannot wait to see what you do next, whether it's with the History Channel or something on your own. It's going to be awesome. So make sure you guys are in the Discord channel if your parents are cool with it, and hit me up in there. And don't forget, to if you are a YouTube for Teens student, don't forget about our coaching calls that we have every month. And other than that, guys, have a great weekend. I'll see you later.